looks like a Ricciardi. Just dropped off. Okay, Susan Ricciardi, is that right?
Ricciardi,
Ricciardi. Hi, Susan.
Right. I don't think, can you see me at all?
I cannot see you at all, no.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I've never actually seen that screen before. It's showing me like a lock screen. Not really sure what that is. Do you intend on providing testimony here today?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other device that you could attempt to try to log on with?
Sure. Let me try my phone.
Okay, great. Okay. Looks like we have Emily Ahaus, our zoning administrator, and Matt Lascheid. Matt, if you could unmute.
Hello.
Hey, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes, sir.
Lascheid?
Lascheid. Yep.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Let's try to get these folks in. Right. There. Okay, Susan, I don't know if you can still hear me, but just waiting for your phone audio to connect. So if you unmute your computer, you'll be able to, okay, it looks like we can hear you on that and see you on the other one. So why don't we just keep this setup going?
Okay, great.
If that works for you.
Sure.
Okay. All right, fantastic. Are you with the applicant or the owner by any chance?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, my husband owns the property at 3725.
Got it. All right. And I see your husband's having some technical difficulties as well. Could you give
We
me
were
his
supposed to
first
be
name?
on together, but he's at work now, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Did he want to provide testimony as well?
Yes.
Okay. Could you give me his first name?
Anthony?
Do you own the property under Church Walk Properties LLC? Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, my husband does.
Got it. Great. Are you anticipating anyone else joining us here today?
No.
Okay, great. Are you able to speak about the project at all?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, my husband's really the technical person. I can tell you what I do know. He's been working on it.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to try to reach out to him, see if maybe he can try his cell phone as well.
Yeah, he said he's having trouble. I just texted him. Just told him that you know that, but he was on. I don't know.
Yeah, he's dropping on and off. Seems like maybe some sort of potentially an internet connection or something like that. Maybe if you text him, see if he wants to try his cell phone. A lot of times that's a good workaround.
Okay.
When we're having problems with computers. I'll just give you a minute to do that and we'll jump into it once I hear back.
Okay.
Anthony, can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. Do you know what the problem is while you're dropping off?
I don't know, but I think I'm good now.
Here you are. I
Okay.
see you now.
Sorry about that.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started then. Need to read through our hearing script and then we'll jump right into substance of the application. So this is the December 7th, 2022 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. I'm the zoning hearing examiner for the city of Cincinnati, and I'll preside over this hearing. Case before us today is case number ZH20220169. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If there were anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to speak after the applicant had presented its case. I'll give our zoning department an opportunity to provide any testimony in addition to their staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to an application, the applicant shall have the opportunity to rebut that testimony and or argument offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. I may also refuse to consider hearsay testimony. That's generally evidence you want to introduce that consists of statements made by someone who is not present at this hearing. In the event of any technical difficulties, as we've already seen, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there's some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, the last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, doing anything other than just strictly observing here today, then you need to be sworn in. So if that's you, if you can make sure that you're off of mute, I need everyone to raise their right hand and to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Great, thanks guys. Okay, Anthony, will you be taking the lead on the presentation here?
Susan is going to start.
Sure.
Yeah, because I have to leave. Would I be able to drop off after my testimony?
Anytime you want. The floor
Okay.
is yours.
Sure. Okay. My husband owns the property at 3725 Eastern. He bought the property about 4 years ago, but decided not to do anything with the property except to keep the grass mowed and keep the invasive vegetation to a minimum. We wanted to learn about the Columbia-Tusculum neighborhood and its culture before we made any major decisions about what to do with it. We've gotten to know our adjacent neighbors to the east and west, and Anthony's very involved with the Carnegie Center, the Columbia-Tusculum Community Council, and he attends St. Stephen's Church regularly. On that property, a 4-family apartment building had been torn down about 25 years ago and had been on and off for sale in as many years. And after purchasing the property, we were made aware that 3 or 4 townhomes could possibly be built there, but we knew that that was not in the best interest of that particular neighborhood. Around this time, our eldest son had been looking to purchase an existing home, but to no avail. So that's what made our decision to build a single family home on the property a much easier proposition. So he'll be living there. My son insisted that the design should fit the feel of the neighborhood. There are already some single family homes within a block east and west of the property and also across the street. And when considering the design, we incorporated some of the architectural details of the homes, for example, gabled roof, wide welcoming entry, lots of other items. However, off-street parking was a must, and the businesses in close vicinity need those spots, especially the new Bodega Daylily, which brings many customers to this particular block on Eastern Avenue. We are asking for first floor residential and side parking use so that this project can proceed and enhance the neighborhood. In addition, our next door neighbors are very much in favor of this project, especially the Ober sisters. They, I believe they each wrote a letter to Mr. Sturkey to that fact and expressed their hopefulness that the single family home would be built right next door to them. They've been concerned that a developer would buy the property and overbuild or create a parking lot. That was kind of the conversation in the neighborhood, that it was going to become a parking lot. So thank you for your time and consideration approving this first floor and side parking project. We hope it goes through, and we'll do our very best to be excellent neighbors in the community.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, is there anything you wanted to add?
I wanted to first acknowledge the fact that, my wife and I are not developers, and it's part of the application process. I wanted to thank the city, Emily A. House and her staff, and legal for, helping us through the process. We tried to be very thorough so that the hearing examiner and your team, had time to review it. I'm just going to touch on some of the highlights in the written statement, and I'm going to try to be as brief as I can, given your time constraints. But as Susan mentioned, we're looking for conditional use. We're not looking for a zoning change, and we're looking for side parking. The address is 3725 Eastern Avenue. And as she mentioned, the parcel is vacant. It's about a 65 by 87 parcel. And it does not contain any structures. Over 25 years ago, it was torn down in 1997, and there was a 4-family home on the property. Of note, in our written statement, we wanted to point out that 3725 Eastern Avenue is pretty much surrounded by residential homes. They bookend the property. For example, directly adjacent east of the open lot are the following residential homes: 3729 Eastern Avenue, and there are 2 units there. 3731 Eastern Avenue, and there are 2 residences there. And it continues on 3737 Eastern Avenue. And then bookending on the west side is 3717 Eastern Avenue. In terms of what we're proposing, our family wants to construct a residential home with 1st floor residential and side parking. We've done our research. We've hired an architect so that the home's design conforms to the applicable zoning rules, including setbacks, height, and parking. The front, side, and rear setbacks to the facade is within the allowable setbacks for a commercial zone. It's kind of a challenge because there's a 25-foot setback in the back of the house, so that makes it challenging. The proposed home is compatible with existing urban design and land use patterns, as my wife mentioned. We, as opposed to a really large 3-story house, we decided on a 2-story with a gabled roof. The proposed parking located next to the side of the building will be accessed through one existing curb cut. And of note that the surface parking area located on the side, our thinking is that if we decide to do a second build where there's land still remaining to do that, then you would have sort of a future a driveway to a second commercial or residential building. You could park in the rear. That would negate another curb cut. So just trying to think ahead in terms of the design. As my wife mentioned, our immediate neighbors on the left, which will be adjacent to the house, are the Obers, and they each provide a letter of support. And I'm just going to refer to Emily Ober. She said, my sister, Abigail Ober, and myself are owners of the property at 3729 Eastern Avenue, Cincinnati, Ohio. A single-family home is compatible with the neighborhood. A residential home is an appropriate use of the site, given its location adjacent to other residential homes in the immediate vicinity. She said, I am not aware of any negative or adverse impacts on the neighboring properties and the community based on the proposed use. The owner's plans for a residential structure will enhance the immediate neighborhood by turning an undesirable property into a viable home that generates taxes for the city. That was Emily Ober. So I'm going to defer to your staff and your team, and appreciate everything that everybody has done.
Okay, thank you. So just to confirm, there will be a single car garage in the front and then a side parking with the width for 1 car. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. Let's see. To the zoning team. So with this, in order to comply with the code, they would need to locate the parking in the rear. Is that right?
That's right. So because this is a commercially zoned property and it's designed for both cars as well as pedestrians. It's typically expected that the parking lot be in the rear. And that would make more sense for a development with more parking. But this site only has one off-street parking space. So even if the parking were located in the rear, there would still need to be a driveway to access it. So the condition would be similar in the front, and it would just require them to have a longer driveway and parking in the rear, which would not really benefit anyone, and it would be harmful for the applicant taking more of their property. So we've worked with them to put it in the side, and we feel this is a good compromise.
Okay. Any other testimony you want to provide, Mr. Lashad, before, or in addition to your staff report?
Nothing in addition to the staff report. We received the letters of support that the applicant submitted. No other correspondence from neighbors or members of the public, and continue to recommend approval of both items and here for any questions.
Thanks. Okay. I think I have a pretty good understanding of what's going on here. I don't have any further questions either for the applicants or the owners. Anything, Susan or Anthony, you wanted to provide in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
Now, other than that, we're very sensitive to the area. We wouldn't want to, interrupt the feel of that, that part of Eastern Avenue. We have lived in many communities in Cincinnati. We're from the Northeast, and we always tried to be really good neighbors wherever we lived here, and this is no exception. We're very sensitive to people. We do know developers or people who have built, and they just build whatever they want. Of course, it's been approved, but we're very sensitive to our neighbors, and don't want to create a problem. So we've been attentive to that.
We also contracted with Green Building Consulting if this moves forward, so that we would be looking to build a gold lead house and, really try to, set a standard for energy efficiency that the city encourages.
Okay. I think we'll leave it at that. I've had a chance to review the application materials, including the letters of support, the staff report. I'm very familiar with this area. I agree that it would be impractical to strictly enforce the zoning code here. And I agree that the project does match the character of the neighborhood. And so based on that, based on the testimony that I've heard here today, I'm going to approve the application. I need to formalize that in a written decision, which, as I said at the beginning, usually takes about 2 weeks. As soon as I finish that, I put it into a PDF and I email it to everybody who's in the hearing here today. So you all have a copy of that really just moments after it's complete. As soon as you have that copy, you can work with Matt and Emily to get the permitting approved. And I think that's it. Any questions about the process or anything?
No, yeah, we just want to thank everybody. Everybody's been very professional, and we appreciate it. And as not being attorneys or developers, we really been guided through the process, and hope that the facts would bear witness. Thank you.
Great. Glad to hear that. And sounds like a great project. I wish you guys the best with it.
Thank you, sir.
If you have any questions or would like a status update on the decision, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to answer any of those for you.
Appreciate that.
Otherwise, hope you have a wonderful day. We are adjourned.
Thank you. Happy holiday.
You too.